Hello, headphone mixers, or should we say IEM mixers for this episode, as this week, me, Paul Third, and my good friend, Emrah Celik, an award-winning mix and mastering engineer with over 3 billion streams to his name, 90% of those coming from headphones. We are going to be discussing not one, not two, but 3 in-ear monitors for mixing and mastering. Yes, they are all coming from the same brand, and to be clear, to be very, very clear, this episode has not been sponsored. We have not been paid a dime for any video that we've made, and this one is not any different. We have been sent the in-ear monitors from Kiwi ears because at the end of the day, you want us to review stuff, and this is how it works. So, let's get straight into it, Emrah. So, we have 3 in-ear monitors from Kiwi. We have the Astral, which is the most expensive. We've got the Septet, which is quite interesting, which we'll go into that very, very soon. And then we've got what we class as maybe the budget one. That's still more expensive than what we class as, truth ears and stuff like that. But we have the KE4. And it'd be quite interesting when you hear Emrah's comparisons of these, because what he chooses to use might surprise people. So, Emrah, talk to our audience, as you are the IEM guy. Like, I have basically recently decided that no, I am nowhere near as interested in IEMs as you. I'm like a headphone guy. So I need a lot of convincing. Now, I've got these as well, by the way, but I do need a lot of convincing when it comes to IEMs. But you have worked on all 3 of these. So one by one, you can choose your pick in which order you go, Emrah. Tell the audience a little bit about the 3 IEMs from Kiwi ears that we'll be discussing today.
Yeah, Kiwi ears is the sister company of T Audio, and both Kiwi ears and T Audio owned by Linsol. So Linsol is a Chinese store and manufacturer who produce those really cool stuff and headphones and IEMs, but they are mostly these 2 brands, T Audio and Kiwi ears. Kiwi ears is more budget-friendly version of the T Audio, but they are completely different brand and different team, different people behind that. So they keep producing different IEMs. I think I should start with the open back IEMs. That would be interesting.
Very interesting. There is an open back IEM, and not only is it open back, it's planar magnetic as well.
Yeah.
Like, my God.
So you see it's open back, unlike other IEMs, and very comfy, very cool to use. And it's, if I can tell, it's 1 DD, 1 dynamic driver, 4 balanced armature, 1 planar, and 1 PZT. It's like quad drip IEMs, right? So there are 4 different drivers that you can use. And in total, it's 5, 7, 8 drivers per each shell you see on this. Usually, we don't see open back IEM. If you think about the idea, it's brilliant. And that's why I just wanted to test them. It's $269. And we've probably put a link, an affiliate link down below. Let's talk about the build quality and everything. It's just pretty light. And if you can see this, you can simply exchange from 3.5 millimeter to 4.4. So you can use it balanced or single-ended. And it comes with the extra, a lot of extra ear tips. So the biggest issue with the ear tips that comes with it, for me, to be honest, Kiwi ears has a special ear tips that called flex ear tips. Those are wonderful. That comes with the KE4 that I'm going to show you soon. I tried everything from small to large ear tips, and nothing worked for me. I always get really bad sealing, and that make them thin. I mean, thin, ultra thin. Like if you use Apple AirPods Pro or something at gym, or if you're in the backyard and doing some stuff or walking, sometimes they get loose and you have to push back all the time. I have the same issue with these. These are the Singolo from Kiwi ears as well. So you have to push all the time to get a good seal. The issue with the IEMs that if you don't get good seal, you can judge the sound quality. Now we know that I got good sealing right now with flex ear tips, and now I can talk about the sound. And if you pull the Septet frequency response ball and show on the screen, so when we look at the target, it's BNK average target that I created. It's pretty much in, there are Harman target and BNK average BNK target. This is more like average target. It's just it's just ballpark. The flat response is the ballpark, but it's made for the headphones. I think we're gonna use BNK average target from now on to show how much deviation you are from the target. Yeah. When it comes to IEMs, the low end must be a few dB more. In this case, we have a few dB more low end, which is okay. From 4K to up, from 20 kilohertz, it has to be a little bit less. Okay, so if it's on the target, if you see a flat target on BNK average for IEMs, that means it's bass light and it's bright. So in this case, these IEMs are a little bit bright and low end is just a little bit thin. I don't get that thump, I don't get that punch out of them, even when the sealing is good. But people like Paul, who doesn't like the excessive low end, it's not excessive low end, but you like to have a little less low end, right?
Yeah. The thing is with me is that I think you get people, when I say bass heads, right, I found that people don't like being called bass heads, but what I class as a bass head is somebody that really appreciates low end and really wants to hear all of the nuances of low end. Emrah is somebody that, again, from his DJing background, and again, with the genres that he works in, there's a lot of heavy low end in there. So Emrah is somebody that could really take all the nuances of low end and have a lot of low end in a mix and be able to separate that from the rest of the instrumentation. Where for me, I'm somebody that's because I'm a guitarist, I see mid-range and I see instrumentation, and I find that low end could distract me. A lot of it's too much of it and I don't really know what to do with it. Where in terms of counter translation, I've always found that if I just have just a little bit less, then actually when I mix, I get the right levels of low end because things don't sound as bassy to me. So some of the things that I might prefer to mix on, Emrah will be like, there's not enough low end for me. I know how my low end should sound. Where somebody like me, I would say I don't know as much how low end, should sound. I'm not a low end king. I know in terms of translation how things should sound, but there's just people out there for me that just know low end inside and out, and it's part of them, and that's not really me. So yes, for some people, some of these tunings might work. So again, Septet, as you can see from the frequency responses here, Septet is in the blue, and you can notice that out of the Astral and KE4, it is the most bass light. It still is slightly over the target slightly, but it is more bass light compared to others, and it is the most brightest as well, in the most present range of our human hearing. As you can see, again, I'm pointing, but as Emrah said, from what I can see, from around 4.5K all the way up to 10K, it's pretty present. And then again, it has a bit of a dip just after 10K. But yeah, it might work for some, it might not work for others, which is why there are so many different options on the market. So yeah, counter translation is what we always talk about. Very, very important.
We can clearly say that these are bright. These are bright IEMs.
Yeah.
And in my private life, I like bass, even more bass.
Oh, you love
can
bass.
call me, you can call me bass head. But during working in a professional music in a studio, I like not less bass, not more bass. I like accurate bass. So in this case, these are slightly lower than what I will call accurate in IEMs.
Mm-hmm.
And the brightness, it's bright, but it's kind of, you're getting that brightness as a detail rather than ear-piercing brightness. It doesn't disturb you as long as you are on the good levels, sound-wise, volume-wise. Because PZT drivers, it's bone conductor drivers. So you get the high end, the brightness is more like it's tamed by that PZT drivers because there's no interaction in case measurement. There's no interaction. The bone conduction is not happening in the measurement rigs. Brightness is coming from those extra planar treble drivers because the PZT drivers is going to kind of tame that feeling for you. Yeah, you feel the brightness, but it's not disturbing. Still in a good, in okay ballpark, So these are the things that when you wear them, you're gonna hear as a tonal wise, and that the performance of it, presentation is okay, it's good. I would prefer if these were two DD, two dynamic drivers, or two dynamic drivers with 8 millimeters. That will be an end game at this price and open back. And I don't mind the top end because the thing is with IEMs that you just don't want to EQ them, because the way we use IEMs, it's just pain in the ass. It's more like portable stuff, and you don't have to carry, your EQ everywhere. So there's no technology that you can carry mostly. For most people, it would be a good track editing, voice editing, vocal editing, or film editing, IEMs. But in my case, it's not that mixing, mastering IEMs for me. So I don't know, Paul, what would you think?
I found them quite interesting because normally IEMs are incredibly easy to drive to the point where, you do get a very low output on some headphone jacks that will give you a purposely low headphone power output. So again, because you've got to think about signal to noise ratio. Sometimes, if you've got a shitty amp, you can get a lot of noise. And again, the last thing you want to do is to put too much power to your IEMs that have already got a very low sensitivity. Now, with these being planar magnetic, these are just as hard to drive as headphones. I think that's if you're putting this through a MacBook Pro. So when I was putting this through my M1 MacBook Pro, I needed to have it just as loud as I would probably an average dynamic headphone and a low dynamic headphone. They are easy to drive. The MacBook Pro will do it. You don't need an external amp with them, but they are less sensitive than most of your other IEMs and the other two IEMs that we're going to talk about today. So you don't need an amp, but it's just, if we're talking about differences from other IEMs that I've tried, I just did find it interesting that these did require a little bit more power than, some very, easy to drive headphones that I've tried. But yeah, I don't think you'll need an amp. I don't know. I didn't really find any difference, that much difference, even though the MacBook Pro needed to be relatively loud. But I think the thing that caught me the most with these was the slam of these. I've never heard an IEM that slams like a good pair of planars. But comes at a caveat, because I was going backwards and forwards with these, where I really loved them when I first tried them. I was excited because I don't normally get that kind of element of transience for me. Because if you compare it to something like the Oracles, the Mark 3s, they have good transient response, but they don't slam, really, really slam, like something like an Anda Nanos or the Noir X from Dan Clark that just came in this week. These Septets, these slam. When I play Uprising from Muse, which is my slam check track, I was holy shit, these things are properly slamming in my ears. But there was an element to me that thought it was just a bit too much slam, where everything was sounding like it was kind of slamming. Even quite soft stuff had a lot of transient energy in it, and everything was sounding a little bit hyped. And I think, as Emrah has talked about with the frequency response, they are quite bright, and I think you add that speed and that energy with the top end, they could get fatiguing pretty quick. So for me, what I found was that, yeah, they were exciting to begin with, but when I tried to put them on with a mix that I was doing, I was oh, okay. After 15, 20 minutes, I was this is getting a little bit fatiguing. So then I had to I EQ'd them and then brought a bit of the top end down, and yeah, it worked a little bit, but I think just having that slam directly in your ears isn't really that natural to me. I know many people are like, there shouldn't be that much of a difference, between like over ears and in ears. But for me, just having that slam right in the eardrum was a bit difficult to take. And when I was listening to my mixes, I was like, if these were the only IEMs that I had to work on for that day, I think, again, it depends if I was using a reference track, but I could see myself maybe softening a lot of the mixes in my counter translation as I'm trying to, deal with things being that energetic and that slamming and that kind of fast. And I think Emrah's spot on, where these would be arguably the best IEMs for editing. Like if you're looking for speed and you're looking for accuracy and you're looking to catch clicks and pops and, things that's going to catch your attention, these could be a great check for that. But for mixing and mastering, I find them pretty fatiguing. And yeah, they are relatively more hungrier to drive than, normal IEMs as well. And they are in the middle of the price point. So I think technology-wise, they're interesting and they can have a good place. I can see a lot of people finding them fatiguing. I mean, for you, Emrah, did you find them fatiguing in terms of, I mean, I'll ask you, are these arguably one of the most slamming IEMs that you've heard? Or how did you feel about the dynamicism of the Septets?
No, I don't find them fatiguing, but I find them, as I said, a little bit bright and thin sounding. Maybe its brightness is making the tilt down to low end, and that was the issue that I got. Because after I got good seal, I felt the sound was okay, and I'm kind of suspicious about the PZT drivers if they're really bone conductor, because they use bone conductor drivers on quintet. It's PZT, but PZT is a technology that you can put in a transducer, so in bone conductor drivers. So I'm not 100% sure, because when I use quintet is not in this review, but quintet from previous models, I felt that the treble is bright and very detailed, and there is no, the brightness is not brightness like bare dynamic brightness. These are getting this almost the if you know the MV1.
Yeah, from Sony. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That kind of treble brightness I get.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like it's just lifted.
Yeah.
But it's not that, the sharp ear piercing like in the bare dynamics, like ear piercing sharpness. Rather, it's smooth, as we can see on the graph as well.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about using open back IEMs compared to open back headphones or closed back headphones?
Personally, one of the biggest point of IEMs is like to give you isolation. So the sound would need to be incredible for me to want to switch. So I personally think that I don't really see the market in them. I think that for me, I think the best way to end on Septet, for me personally, and we can maybe move on because I could see this already becoming a long video, is that if you are somebody that feels like you could have a pair of Sennheisers, right? Not a lot of good microdynamics. If you feel like you want to check for microdynamics, slam, energy, speed, and you want to check that's quick, then the Septet would probably be the one, in my opinion, to get you there. It could really add something that you're going to be lacking in like a lot of your dynamics and your Neumanns and your Sennheisers and things that are just very soft sounding. But I think to do soul mixing on them, as Emrah said, there is a few issues for me, and I don't really see them having a benefit over an open back headphone. Because for me, I just find open back headphones comfier as well, and they are pretty loud. like I remember my wife came in and she was like, "What?" She was like, "Paul, how loud are you listening?" She was really scared because she'd never heard IEMs so loud, like projecting so loud. They are quite loud. So like, yeah, like you couldn't sit, like honestly, if you were on a train and like I was listening to Septet, like you'd be like, "Yo, bro, please, can you fucking turn it down, please?" I'd be like, "They're not even that loud," but because they're open back, and they just have this kind of tinny-ish kind of sound when they're projecting from like being an open back. So I don't really get to Emrah, to be honest with you. I think the quality would need to be over-ear quality for me to justify it, personally.
Yeah, the imaging and sound stage is just fantastic. I mean, because it's open back anyway, and I play games with that, FPS games. If you know what PUBG is, Player Unknown Battle Royale, and I can pinpoint everything perfectly. It's just good, it's just good. And the footsteps, like their positions, it's just perfect. Sound stage is amazing on these. But as I said, it could be a pretty good gaming IEMs, open back IEMs that you don't feel claustrophobic.
Yeah, because they're fast as well, as Emrah said. It is just ping, 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 ping. You can get the imaging. But I do feel that sometimes it's like the transients and the speed almost take over for me a little bit. But they might be, honestly, if that's what you feel you're missing in your arsenal and that you want an IEM for that purpose, that's probably the best that you're going to find. So so what would you give it, Emrah? And I know because we normally give grading so for headphones, but you'd say, so A, all-rounder, B, honest, C, limited translation, D, poor translation. What would you say?
I would give them a C.
Okay. Limited translation, yeah.
Limited translation. I can make them translate, no problem. But I prefer to not EQ stuff.
Yeah.
In IEMs. But on the other hand, we have Astral.
Yeah, which is the more expensive one. So that's the more expensive one.
Yeah, it's Astral here. It's beautiful, beautiful, and comfort, everything. The ceiling and the the packaging. You get the box. You get box with everything, but the ear tips are cool and they are sealing perfectly fine, and you get still the 3.5 millimeter. Everything I just mentioned about the Septet is the same in case package presentation. That's cool. But sound-wise, I would say it's like more for bass heads. The bass, on the other hand, has a strong density.
Definitely.
And when I'm mastering, I look for density, accuracy, and a good transient response in lows rather than amplitude. I mean, this bass is just volumed up version of the any IEMs, right? And it has really like a good bass shelf, but somehow the transient, because bass is kind of muting the transient to my ears. The comfort is great, mid-range and high clarity is just fantastic. I mean, as you can see on the target, it's just following the target perfectly fine. However,
Emrah, I will ask you one thing. I will, just because I'm looking at this now. So as we can see, yes, it has more sub bass. So again, if we compare that to the KE4, from about you'd say about 50 hertz, and then you get a little bit more of a sub boost. But what's quite interesting here is what the other two don't have that the Astral does have. As you can see, probably around maybe 170 hertz looks to be maybe around like a 2 dB little cut there. Now that's quite an important frequency. Now you talk about, again, not wanting to EQ IEMs. Did you find that specific little dip there to be an issue for you?
That's the thing. You see between 800 to 300K, there's a slight ear gain is just boosted.
Yep.
And treble is perfect because it's not muted. It's just slightly under the target.
It's nearly bang on target there. Yeah,
nearly bang on target from 3K to 20 kilohertz.
Yeah,
but that ear gain could be a little bit too much, but I understand why they did filter crossovers at that point that we can see at 150 and around 550 hertz. Those are probably the crossover filters that's slightly causing a little bit dip.
Yeah.
But that gives the low end separation, and you don't feel that ear gain is too much, And I'm not sensitive to ear gain, but I don't feel that it's just forward. It
Yeah, I
makes
know what you mean.
vocals and transient, and it's almost in the dangerous area. It's almost cutting that 2.5K where things get zingy.
Yeah.
And that is almost just cutting the edge,
Mm-hmm.
and that's good. But that between 150 to 600 or 800, that little, I mean, if you think about the wideband,
Mm-hmm.
there's a dip, and that dip, a wide dip, is what makes the low end sounds boomy and muting the transient. That's the issue. You get a really good separation if you're gonna listen to music, P-pop and techno and EDM like that. The low end sub and everything. It's gonna be good. But we're talking about not pure music enjoyment. Rather, if we can mix on them. Bass is not loose. It's not boomy, but it's just boomy loose. That's how I call it. It's in between. And that's the thing, if I can get more transient out of it, if transient are not muted, that would be a winner.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we just can't fix it at this moment. I tried some extra stuff to bring that transient, but it didn't work.
Yeah,
So,
I found that when I was testing all three of them, I did prefer the Astral the most because I felt like it was, for me, the best average of the three of them. But yeah, I think low end, I was like, I could hear the low end was there, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's got the sub in there and stuff. But as Emrah said, I was a little bit like, when I put a mix on. So, for example, I was doing a mix, I can't remember, I think it was it was nanos. I was doing a mix on nanos, and I decided to, because I wasn't in the studio, I was doing portably, and I'd done the bass and the drums and the vocals on nanos. And I went, okay, let's just stick on the Astrals. And then straight away I could hear that looseness that Emrah was talking about. And a part of me was thinking, if I was to mix on these, I wouldn't make the same decisions that I made on nanos because I didn't have the tightness and I didn't really have the separation that, I was looking for. And then overall, it was interesting when I just stuck them on and I got that fresh ear perspective where I was like, yeah, these are kind of speaker-like. Yeah, they're giving you like a good representation of everything. Imaging-wise, yeah, they're great. They don't need crossfeed. But there was something, I don't know, it was like, I don't know if I wouldn't even say zinginess because there's no zinginess in it. There was just like something there that just, I could just pick up, and there was something that was different. And I don't know if that's the thing with me where it's an IEM thing versus an over-ear thing, where things just didn't sound exactly right to me and I couldn't put my finger on it. And I was like, okay, I need to take these off because I know that when I get it right on nanos, when I get drums, bass and vocals right on nanos, I've normally nailed it. And there was just something that just wasn't really sitting right, and I just couldn't put my finger on it. And because I couldn't put my finger on it, a part of me was thinking, yeah, I'm not sure if the Astrals maybe are for me because I need to stick something on, and it's obvious. Like we talk about nanos all the time, the Hyphen and the nanos. If I'm not on the nanos and I'm, for whatever reason, and I do a check, if I'm on the Peacocks, I'm on the MX4s, and I then, stick the nanos on, within seconds, if something's not right in the low end, I'm going to hear it. If something's not right with a vocal level or something's not right like with a transient or something like that or a detail, I'm going to judge it. But I think there was something about Astral where I was sitting there thinking, I enjoy these for listening to music, but do I enjoy these more than I feel like they're a critical tool? And I feel that's the thing with Astral, that I think, yeah, big picture, yeah, great big picture, really accurate imaging, good stage, good details, bass is there. But yeah, there was something about it where I couldn't put my finger on it, where I felt that I couldn't really judge what I needed to judge, and I couldn't put my finger on one specific thing. So yeah, I think it's annoying because when I did all three of them, I was like, I prefer the Astral. But yeah, mixing's a different thing, Emrah, isn't it? I think there's that it's that difficult thing, isn't it?
Yeah, man. If you look at the graph, on the Astral, that as I said, that 150 to 800 dip, and the ear gain, where mostly vocal sits. If you think about the counter motions, counter mixing, counter EQing, what you're gonna end up with a little bit muddy mix. And
yeah, I agree.
your vocals levels will be muted, and you will probably add more transient in the kick or But these are slight stuff. So where we put to Astral? What about Astral? What we be? It's just good music listening.
Yeah.
IEMs.
Yeah, it's really annoying because they are good, honestly. It's like I listen to it and I go, everything is there that I want, but I just don't feel like I want to mix on them. You've had it in the past, Emrah, where there's certain headphones or certain IEMs or certain speakers that you've heard and you're just like, I want to listen on them, but I don't really want to mix on them. And I can't, that's kind of how I feel. So I think for people that are in for enjoyment, I would probably say that they'll enjoy these the most. I think that, and I've found that in some audiophile circles online where most people do tend to prefer the Astral, but we are mix and mastering engineers, and yeah, I don't even know how to rate it, Emrah. I don't even know what rating to. It's quite difficult because they sound good on one hand, but I can't really make heads or tails in a mix what to really do with them. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, it's I will. If I describe this, it will be a kind of most rude person in these three triple IEMs, right? Because it's 1 DD and 6 BA, and I have to tell you, I really hate more than 4 BA in
said
IEM.
that. Yeah, you've said that.
It's make things like thick, mid range is thick, high end is thick. There's no kindness in that. Somehow it feels like sound is rude, if you know what I mean. It's like meathead. Yeah, it's just a good description.
Yeah, that was another thing. Sorry to cut you off there, Emrah, because I just remembered, because I remember I had notes for the Discord, and a part of me, I remember, was talking about that I did feel that I thought that the low end was full, and I not that I said that they were like Odyssey IEMs, but they kind of did give me that meaty kind of fullness that kind of reminded me a little bit of when I like listening to Odysseys, maybe the Peacocks, but it wasn't Odyssey and it wasn't Peacocks, where there still wasn't enough for me. Because the thing is with the Odyssey and the Peacocks, the Sendy Peacocks, is that there still is transients in the low end, like MX4s and the Peacocks. There still is the low end details to go on, where it was like I had the meat and the richness, and almost like the mid range. I think I would say definitely, for me to finish on Astral, I'm thinking like an audiophile, because I like the juiciness of the mid range, and it's all of these textural, like audiophile terms where I almost appreciate the listening experience, but I don't think they really help me get a better mix. So yeah, I would, if I was a grading, I would say fucking C. I'd give him a C. I'd give him the same as Septet. They are honest, but not honest enough. So I'd have to give them a C, Emrah. What would you give them?
Yeah, that would be C, bro.
Yeah.
I can rank them higher than that.
I agree.
And that brings us to
the cheapest.
KE4.
Yep.
The cheapest one, which is my benchmark for the price.
Interesting, isn't it? It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's my benchmark because when Kiwi ears released these, they were targeting the meta tuning, but somehow they managed to add more juice on it. And if you look at the spectrum, it follows the B&K average target almost perfectly.
Yeah, it follows it better than any of the other two, yeah.
Yeah, it's perfectly. And the low end, as I said, must be a little bit more than B&K average target is headphones, and IEMs we should have a little better, more low end. And when we look at the specs, it's 2 DD and 2 BA. It's not the drivers stuck in them, but 2 DD and 2 BA work like a real good team to create somehow fantastic sound.
Yeah.
And they don't require any EQ, any fixing, and nothing is wrong with them. It's just incredible for the price. And out of these three, These are my favorite.
They're the best tuned that you've said on our Discord. You have said to many people that if you're looking for the best tuned IEM out the box for mixing and mastering, Emrah does believe that the KE4 is the best.
And the thing is that everything is seamlessly blend together with 2GD. You know, it's not like you don't feel like there's a separation in between, stuff like that. And the drivers is 2DD isobaric drivers, 10mm drivers each. And it gives you that subwoofer feeling, that punch, that texture, that transient. The comfort is just incredible. You know, it's not bright. I just can't find any word that I can tell people. It's just bad. You know, everything is perfect. The treble, actually treble. When I listen to the quintet with bone conductor PZT drivers, that's another level in case of clarity, the airiness. Maybe it's the only issue with them is the air, you know, the upper very high end. There is no air in them. But these are the arguably for me the best and benchmark mixing mastering IEMs for the price.
Mm-hmm. And I think for the price is very important, because that's why I love doing it with Emrah, right? Because if you were to ask me about the KE4, now I'm not a big IEM guy. I'm trying. I would agree, and I have said it on the Discord, that I do believe that these are the best tuned IEM out the box. I do believe that. But if you were to say to me, Paul, what's your opinion on them sound-wise? One word always comes up, and it does sound quite rude, but it's meh. Like, they're not shit. They're not, like, you know, exceptional. They're just meh to me. Yes, they're better than Truthier Zero. You know, they're better than, like, less expensive IEMs, definitely. They don't fatigue me, which is great for mixing on long sessions that are comfy, as Emrah said. But they just, I don't know, I don't feel that they give me enough transient response. Like, so I think maybe because I was used to Oracle, then I was listening to Septet and then Astral. I think that, you know, the transient response wise, they don't have as good transient response as Astral and Septet. For me, it's almost like they're veiled a little bit. They almost sound like a little bit to me like a very, very, very well tuned kind of budget dynamic headphone. You know, like if you listen to a really good planar, that you don't get that veiled experience. It's a bit like if you listen to, you know, the Hyphaman HE1000, you know, there's a veiled kind of sound to it. Very, again, decently tuned and stuff. So for big picture, I would say if you're looking for a big picture IEM, one that you could just stick on, that's well tuned, no EQ, and you're looking for the big picture, you're looking for imaging, very easy to drive. These are the easiest to drive out of all three of them. Super, super easy to drive. Don't need to worry about it whatsoever. Again, comes with good ear tips, as Emrah had mentioned earlier. And again, it's at a good price as well. I think these could be the one thing where if I was to do a big picture check on IEMs, the KE4 is now the ones that I go to over Astral, because I just know they're well tuned and I don't have any shocks out of the box, where I can just listen to them and go, right, does that sound right? Very quick, 5 minutes. Does that sound right? Does that work? Because the imaging's great. It has got a speaker-like kind of feel to it. It doesn't need crossfeed. It's a good image, good sound stage. But yeah, just as Emrah said, for the price is so important here, because as Emrah says, benchmark. Just like, again, don't make this a thing where this is going to sound like the Monarch Mark IVs. Like, there's a big difference. But what Emrah's saying here is that for that price,
$100
benchmark for, like the Kiwi ears Altruva, we're like under like $300 for like open back dynamic headphones. You're going to struggle to get as good a headphone as the £70 Kiwi ears Altruva. So for that price range, that's a benchmark for Emrah, and I would probably agree for what it offers at that price point.
Yeah, I think why you feel the transient is just a little bit lacking, because the way the dynamic drivers, they are isobaric, right? So they are probably, I'm just guessing, looking face to face, and they are in sync. You know, and that makes things things, the drivers, a little bit, okay, the tune-wise is perfect, but the speed-wise, a little bit behind the BA drivers.
Mm-hmm.
A little, the microseconds maybe.
Yeah.
Just 1, 2, maybe 1.5.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. And that's make things a little bit kind of muted. But as I said, you pay $199 for them, and you get benchmark to my ears for the IEMs under $200. And I don't want to compare it to MK4 from T-Audio, for example, or some Moondrops and stuff like that. But for the price, I don't think that you can find better. But if I compare all three, open back, Astral, and KE4, I would go for KE4.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say for big picture, again, for what I would use IEMs for, you could still get a decent mix out of them. I just know for a fact I wouldn't get anywhere near my best translation on them. But if you're looking for a well-balanced mix, you're going to get a good tonal balance, and you're going to get good imaging, good staging, and you're going to give you a lot of elements of the mix and tell you the truth on that point. If you're looking for a big picture headphone, a secondary check for IEMs, I would say KE4 is a good, safe bet. That's a good, what I'd say, Emrah, that would be the thing that I will leave for KE4, is it's a safe bet. Tuning-wise, it's right. Yeah. Imaging-wise, it's right. It's a safe bet. It's not going to tell you everything, but it's going to tell you a lot of the truth. It's not going to mislead you in certain aspects. I think it's not got the speed, but again, neither does Sennheisers and fucking Neumanns and stuff. But a safe bet. It's a safe bet.
These are just right on the money.
Yeah.
If you think about the comfort, you get flex ear tips as well. And the comfort is incredible. Just like you can wear them 8 hours, no problem. And you won't get any ear fatiguing. Transit. I mean, the tonal response, the bass, especially the bass, I love it, bro. And the mid-range and highs. Okay, as I said, the issue is the highs. They are not airy highs like you get from Astral or...
Yeah, you won't get those hi-hats, those kind of sizzly hi-hats from KE4.
Yeah, I call it... I call it dusty high highs, you know what I'm saying? Like the HE1000 SE highs, dusty. You don't get it. But for me, I will pick them if I'm going to work with the music. But if I'm going to listen to music, I would go for Astral. Because it's the only IEMs at this price range that will give you a goosebumps. Because of the bass. If I'm going to play games, edit videos, vocals.
Septets, yep.
And film editing, movie editing, video editing, YouTube video editing.
Yep.
I think I would go for Septet.
Agreed. Yep.
This is my conclusion.
Yep. So there you have it, right? 51 minutes. See how much you can edit this one down to. So three IEMs. You keep on asking us for IEMs. And please, I will end with this, right? Please remember that we cannot possibly try every headphone and every IEM. There's like so many IEMs out there. Just remember, we don't have contacts with everybody. So if there is an IEM that you would like us to try or you're really interested about, then please do a little bit of legwork for us. If you know somebody from the company, reach out to them and say, look, these two gentlemen, they're doing really, really good videos reviewing IEMs for the purpose of mixing and mastering. Then that way they could reach out to us. They could then send them to us. We don't chase people. We don't like chasing. We're too busy. He's too busy. I'm fucking too busy. So yeah, help us out if you can. So I know it's to be like, have you tried X, Y, and Z? No, we're fucking Emrah. How many IEMs would you say there's on the market? Top of your head. Quick figure.
1,000. Maybe.
yeah,
I can say
probably more.
1,000.
Probably more. Yeah, so you put all those IEMs in one room and imagine how difficult it would be fucking to review them all, right? So just bear that in mind. So yeah, I think the best way to end it, Emrah, because again it is a long video, would be that the way you've ended it is there is a use case for them all, right? Enjoyment listening, Astral. Editing, and if you're looking for energy or transients, or you're looking just for a more kind of direct, speedy sounding, result, then it would be details. And then again, if you're looking for a safe bet, something that's going to give you more kind of accuracy that you can trust and give you an overall bigger picture, then again, the safe bet would be KE4 for mixing and mastering. So I'm still not satisfied, Emrah, because I've still not found an IEM that gives me goosebumps. I've still not found an IEM that I feel like, yeah, I could mix a whole mix on these. So there is one that we're going to tease, because I am going to get in touch with them and see if they'll send it to me. Emrah has already teased the audio. I don't even know how to say it. How do you say it, Emrah?
T-audio.
T-audio, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got, now how much of the Emrah, how much of the Monarch Mark IVs?
Like $1,000 or something.
Cheesy peeps, right, 1,000, right. So Emrah had the Mark III, raved about them. Now the Mark IVs have came out, and Emrah has told me, bro, I think these are going to be the ones that you're finally going to get in your ears and you're going to say, yes, this is what I want. This, I could mix on this. These are spectacular. So stay tuned for that, because I do think they will probably send us a pair, because Emrah has been non-stop raving about the Monarchs ever since he got them sent. Now, there's a big fucking price difference here, as much as like £700, £800 price difference here. Do you think, Emrah, do you think these are going to be the ones if they do send them?
I told you, these are the IEMs that make me forget about I'm an audio engineer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
For the first time after 20 years, 15 years, that for the first time, I feel like I'm listening to music with my amateur soul.
Mm-hmm.
This is how good they are.
Okay, so stay tuned, because I do think we will get a pair, and that we might maybe have, a pair of IEMs that Emrah and Paul together will be able to say, A grade, job done, the ones. But you'll have to subscribe, be patient, and wait and see. So, if anybody wants to check out the IEMs that we've reviewed in this episode, then obviously we will leave links in the description down below if you've got any experience mixing and mastering. Like, people are getting on at me because I keep on saying I don't care about audiophile opinions, but please just try and keep your comments to mixing and mastering. We don't really care that much about the audiophile side. There are other places for that. So if you've had experience mixing and mastering on these, then please let us know. And if there's any other IEMs that you've mixed and mastered professionally on and got really good results, let us know and share down below. So, Emrah, thank you so much again for your time. 58 minutes. Jeezy peeps. We can talk for Scotland and Sweden and Turkey, couldn't we? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So, there you go. Paul Third, Emrah Celik, signing off. We'll see you again when we see you.